All right, what's going on, guys? So we got some, let's just say, interesting news yesterday. Can't really say if it's going to be good or bad just yet, but it's definitely pretty important. Probably the biggest news we've gotten about Call of Duty in a very long time, because apparently we are no longer going to be getting a new Call of Duty every year. Activision will not release a new Call of Duty game in 2023, delaying it by a year. This year's new Modern Warfare game will still release this fall, with next year being a year off, source Bloomberg. So basically what this means is this year we're still going to be getting this fake MW2, the sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, but we're going to end up having to play it for 2 years straight because Treyarch is no longer going to release their game next year. They're not going to release it till 2024. I don't know if they're still going to keep the November timeline. I would guess so. So they're going to get like an extra year. So this for sure changes a lot of things for us. I see a lot of optimism out there from people on Twitter. People are very excited, like, oh my God, like this is going to fix Call of Duty. Now they have time to work on the game. And I was seeing all that and I was like, are we sure that this is going to do anything? Like, I'm not so sure about that. You know, I think people are just so desperate for some positive news with regards to COD that they're just kind of maybe a little too hopeful and thinking that this is going to solve all the problems. But I think they're going to need to do a little bit more than that to convince me. You know what I mean? I've been bamboozled way too many times. You know what I mean? This is now like, what, year 15 of COD. Like, I've seen way too much from these people. You know, I'm not about to fall for these tricks. So at the core of it, by giving them extra time to work on the game, the idea is that the game should be better. Is that actually gonna happen? I don't know about that, because let's not forget, they're already getting an extra year from what they used to get, because back in the day, we used to only have Treyarch and Infinity Ward, and they would just go back and forth every other year. They would come out with a new game. So they didn't have very much time to work on their games back then. Then we added Sledgehammer into the mix. So now they all have to work on a game once every 3 years. So they get about 2 years to work on their game instead of 1. So just based off that alone, you would think we would have seen a major improvement when they did that, right? So let's think about when that happened. Sledgehammer was introduced with Advanced Warfare, and they also made World War II, and now they've also made Vanguard. So out of all of those, I wouldn't necessarily say that those have been the best games, you know what I mean? So even though they're getting more time, I don't know if I would say that it necessarily improved the quality of the game, considering that back in the day, they went from COD 4, World at War, MW2, BO1, MW3, and BO2 back to back to back, like, you know, 6 straight fire games in a row. They only had basically a year to work on each one. So just because they have extra time doesn't necessarily guarantee that we're going to get a better game. In fact, I think we can all agree the games have actually gotten worse. I mean, we gave them an extra year and they had to use that time to remaster COD 4 because the game they actually made was so terrible that no one was even going to buy it. So I just want to put it out there that just because they have extra time doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a better game. But I'm not sure anyone has really considered the consequences of this as well, because nowadays, let's say you don't like a certain COD that comes out. Realistically, you only kind of have to deal with it for maybe 6 months or so, right? Because the first like 3 months, it's okay even if you don't like the game, because it's new, you still like have fun on it, you know what I mean? You still enjoy yourself for a little bit at least. And then after that, like if you don't really like the game, you know, you could just play something else for 6 months. It's not that big of a deal, because by like August, September, the beta is going to be dropping for the new game. Like, you're not even worried about the old game anymore, so it's not a big deal. But let's just say this new game, this fake MW2, I don't know what we're going to call it, but I'm not calling it MW2. We got to come up with something. I don't know. But this new MW2 that comes out, let's just say it's terrible, right? Maybe it's good. I don't know. The difference now is there's no new COD coming out 6 months down the line after you get sick of it. No, you are going to be stuck with this game for like a year and a half. That's pretty concerning in my opinion. I think that would lead to people just straight up like quitting, you know what I mean? And once someone quits a game and they find a new game that they get super into and they like that one more, it's hard to bring them back, you know what I mean? I'm sure we've all experienced that, you know what I mean? Like once you move on from a game and you find a new game that you enjoy playing, you're probably not going to go back to the old one. But finally, what's probably the most important thing to think about here, right? Why exactly have all the recent Call of Duty games like not been very good? Like what's the actual reason for that? Is the reason because they were rushed, they didn't have time to make a proper game? Like is that really what it is? Because I just don't think that's the issue, because there are just fundamentally wrong things that they are doing with the game. For example, I think the biggest problem that we've had with COD the last like 5 years or whatever is somewhere along the way there was a change in the way that they developed maps. I don't know why that was. If I had to guess, has something to do with skill-based matchmaking. They made the maps in a way to where like I think it adds maybe more randomness. It allows like these shit kids to kill you or whatever so they feel good about themselves. But there's a reason that maps these days are just not the same. You know what I mean? There's a reason every COD that comes out, the most popular playlist that everyone plays is either Shipment or Nuketown, maps that came out a decade ago. So do we really think that giving them more time is somehow going to change the process by which they make maps? Like, I just don't think so. It sounds like to me, all they're gonna do is make even more shit maps. So instead of 10 shit maps, we're gonna get 20. Let's just look at Vanguard, right? I would think that Red Star probably took the most time of any of the maps because it's so big and they had to do so much work on it, and it's one of the worst maps in the game. I don't really think that giving them more time necessarily means that we get better quality. I mean, I'm sure we'll get more quantity, like we'll get more content, but will it be better content? I don't think you can say that. There's honestly no reason to believe that it would be better from what we've seen in the last 5 years, because I think this is just what they do these days. I'm just not convinced that if we give them extra time, they're gonna increase their quality at all. The one thing that I think they will do better if we give them more time is maybe come out with a more complete game. Even then, like, we'll come back to this in 2 years, I guess. But if this new game that they spent an extra, year working on, right? If it still doesn't have fucking ranked play at the launch of the game, which, you know what? I would bet that we still don't get fucking ranked play at the launch of the goddamn game, even though they've now gotten an extra year on top of the year they were already getting. So I don't even know how many years this game is going to be worked on for. And when it launches, this dude's going to sit on Twitter and be like, well, you guys should be thankful that we even made this game for you. All right, so we'll come back when that happens, because I promise you that's coming. Let's just leave it at this, man. Bottom line, I don't care what they have to say, any promises they're trying to make. I need to see it to believe it at this point, because I've been lied to way too many times. They made way too many false promises. They said way too much stuff to hype it up, and then it comes out and it's like, oh yeah, ain't nothing different here. So I just think everyone out here getting all excited over this, like, I think maybe calm it down a little bit, because this probably isn't going to change much, and that's sad to say, but that's probably the truth. So anyways, y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I don't know, maybe I'm just being too negative, but I think everyone else is being too positive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do we just forget what's happened in the last 5 years or what? Like, just because they made one announcement, all of a sudden we just forgot all that? Or like, are we going to use our brains here a little bit and actually think about what this means? I don't know, maybe that's just me. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like rating if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already, follow me on Twitter, links in the description down below. Check out my last video if you missed it. It was about some Fortnite kid who had a mental breakdown on Twitter, and then his mom responded to his tweets. They had a whole family feud on Twitter. She ratioed him. It was like a whole thing. I don't know, these Fortnite kids kind of crazy. But anyways, once again, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day and peace out.